All right. We are live for another fun-filled evening of CAV HQ Live. I am your host, CAVBoss, with my faithful companion, James. Hi, James.
Tis I. I'm here.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. My Tonto.
Intro music. That's it. I'll be your hey.
Eh, Kimo Sabe.
It's a lot of jokes there that are probably not shouldn't be made.
Oh, it's okay. I'm old enough. I can still do Lone Ranger. Talk about Lone Ranger and Tonto. Though we can forget the movie that they did with Johnny Depp. Okay, so how is everybody tonight? I hope you are well. James, how are you doing?
I'm doing much better than last week. I feel good. A little rejuvenated. I'm excited to be working on my calves again. I did a ton of work yesterday. One of my oldest daughter's boyfriend has suddenly decided that he wants to paint miniatures, which he's played miniatures in the past a while back. But
Right.
he was like, "Can I come over and use your stuff?" And you kind of we paint together. And I was like, "Sure." So I got in a couple of hours of unexpected assembly. I got my whole slow grow league assembled to the point where I can primer them, and it's just like a lot of progress for me. It's That 2 hours was very productive.
Well, good. Your playing hooky last week flipped over to me. I skipped last night, so it was just a very, very long day with lots of things going on. And by the time, and I got to, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be ready for a show tonight. There's just with what I still had left to do. So I cut it off early. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be there. Apparently, it didn't get pushed around good enough. But anyway,
Everybody deserves a day off.
well, yeah, I know, but it was like I said, I hate missing on a show, but it would just it's crazy around here right now. Speaking of which, is part of the problem, which is good for all this too. Is we finally got our vulcanizer in yesterday of all things. You never would have thought in the world that it would take so long to get a vulcanizer. For those that don't know, the vulcanizer is what we cook the molds in. So we've got all the casting, all the stuff, production and everything been in, but we couldn't make any molds yet in-house. So we've done some. We just went somewhere else and did them. But now we've got our vulcanizer finally showed up. And like I said, I did not think that it would be like pulling teeth to get a vulcanizer in. But it's here, sitting back on the back floor. I got it somewhat uncrated and put in. The electrician is supposed to be here tomorrow, I think, to run the new wiring for it, to plug it in, because it is 220. So,
Sweet.
yeah. So happy about that. We're getting there.
Hey, Elmarin, subscribing. Yay.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So, John, do you still have the metal area in your shop
We
still set up for metal casting?
we do. Hold on a second here. There it goes. Yeah, we're not going to get rid of that. Part of that will still get used for us when we're making masters and things like that. It's easier for us to produce those in metal. It helps avoid some problems and things like that. So, but we're getting a new mix of metal in.
Oh, really?
The the company that we bought the machine from has a different company that does the classes for it, and they do their own in-house casting and everything like that too, and they have a different mix of metal that they use that is more designed for lower production to make masters, but so that it is just a better metal. So it's just the way it's mixed as far as the tin and everything like that. So we had to get a hold of our metal guys and tell them the mix that we needed. So we're waiting for new ingots to come in, and then we have to empty the pot, and get that all out of there. So, which will probably cast that back up into ingots and just hold it in case it's needed down the road for something.
So we should anticipate it at some point in time in the future. If I order a fire drake, it's going to be in this new material when I receive it.
It'll be plastic.
So you're going to move all the metal molds over to dual cast.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not anything that's going to happen tomorrow, but yes, we're not casting any new metal up. So whatever's on the shelf right now will continue to sell till it's out, and then it will remain out of stock until we switch it over to plastic.
The dual cast, but we're not going to lose access to those models other than in a short window.
Right, it'll be just whatever the time, that we turn around and get. Obviously, as if we run out of metal ones quicker, they'll probably get moved up the line a little bit. So.
Yeah, that subject came up earlier in the week. I can't remember if it was on Discord or in the channel or in the Monday show. I've got fire drakes in my slow grow league, and so we were looking at those, and I was just like, wow, I'd forgotten how good these fire drakes really are, and that made me get to looking at the whole metal selection. And now that you mentioned it, that they might, I'll make sure I say this the right way. Their availability may become low at some point in time before they transition to dual cast. I might need to make sure I've really got all of those.
They probably are low right now. There's not a huge amount on the shelves. I mean, we normally don't. We usually keep 12, 18 of them at a time on the shelf, but since for the last couple of months we haven't been restocking them, so I don't know what's out there. And like Yelmerin said, I think he knocked out a bunch of them the other day. So we'll just see. We'll see how they go. And I think there's still some in raw stock that just haven't been packaged too, so I don't know what's back there either. But yes, no, it's an exciting time here. We are bursting at the seams. We don't have hardly room for anything right now as we move everything around, and it didn't help to get the double coffin size laser cutter that I really hadn't planned on having back there. So that dude's really got in the way of things. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it. I'm still trying to figure out where to put it. But it's good. Well, that's what's on the shelf. We have packaged, and then we have back stock, which hasn't been packaged yet. So I don't know what's in back stock. But as far as on the shelf, there's a good chance that you got a big chunk of them for sure. But I'm still. I mean, I think we're still on track for our first, or technically second, release of Dualcast for next month. So
sweet.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, we've been working on all the stages and doing everything up to, and just haven't been able to cook our own molds here. So, it's cool. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've been working on a bunch of MDF kits. We've got some other projects that are going on too. I'm getting ready to put out some paint racks. That I've been fine tuning. There'll be 2 different styles of those. I'm still kind of playing with the final design to make them as sturdy as I can make them without them turning into 50-pound rocks. Working on some MDF, the buildings. I'm starting to get into that. Just crazy. It's just lots and lots of stuff going on. So. Well, as you can attest earlier, as you said earlier, we haven't hardly talked to each other in 2 or 3 weeks. So,
yeah, I mean, barely a paragraph's worth of communication. Right. That's not normally the case.
So, what else? Oh, well, and we also, this is kind of weird. I've got to do some more research and check up on it because we had a customer in Malaysia, and he's backed a couple of our Kickstarters, and we've sent him stuff, and he got a hold of us, about a month ago and said, hey, I want to get the Badger. I've got some other things I want to get. Is there any way we can put together an order? So I said, yeah, we'll put together an order and box it up and send to you. So we've got it boxed up. We shipped it DHL, and it got over there relatively quick, but it's holed up over there because DHL has come back and said that this guy needs an import license. And I'm like, how do you need an import license for some toys? So we've been going back and forth. So his stuff is sitting over there on a shelf at DHL in Malaysia. But I guess the easiest way is he got a hold of it. I guess it's not a big deal for him to get whatever he needs to get. All I can figure is what's throwing it off is the Badger being a wood product. Countries tend to be kind of goofy about when wood products come in. Generally, it applies to construction lumber and pallets and stuff like that. There's some, it's like there's special pallets that you have to use from China. If China uses their natural wood pallets over there, the Department of Agriculture does not appreciate that, and they will lock your import up in a heartbeat. So I don't know if that's where, I mean, it's MDF. It's technically it's still a wood product, but it's not really wood. But I don't know. So that's been a half a day screaming and hollering at them. So my pressed board style furniture. Yeah, no, when it comes to wood and stuff like that, they are they get a little nutty. So they don't want to take a chance of getting some kind of a bug,
parasite,
something, some kind of wood borer, stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, the first time I shipped stuff over from China, and we had that, and I had to make sure that we had to, the people who picked up our stuff from the manufacturer, we had to make sure that they put everything on plastic pallets so that we wouldn't get hung up in customs in the U.S. So these things that you learn the hard way, the expensive way.
It's crazy. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Well, that's like, did I ever tell you the story about the original Enforcer? So we were, at the end of Kickstarter 2, I started talking to a new manufacturer about the harder plastic like we used in Kickstarter 3. So to check them out and we sent the Enforcer model over there for them to go ahead and do. And that's why when we got it back before we actually shipped Kickstarter 2, so we actually added the Enforcer to everybody's Kickstarter as an extra dude to kind of show what's happening. Well, the original manufacturer, when we sent our models over there, they add the information to the bottom of the model. So the made in China or whatever that needs to go on the bottom of there. So when we sent the models over to the new one, we just did them like we did the first one. Well, they're a little more, if it's not on there, they're not putting it on there unless you ask them, unless you tell them to. Now, you would think that they know, shipping and doing everything here, that they've got to have that on the product somewhere. So I get a phone call waiting for the boxes to get here. And I am told that they have showed up at the customs in Dallas to be released in Dallas. But there's no made in China on the figure, in these little bags. So they won't release them. They're like, you're going to have to destroy them or whatever. We're not going to release them in here. So I got a hold of one of our go-betweens on the deal, and he called up there and talked to him and everything like that. Because we had waited a couple of weeks and nobody notified anybody, which that's a whole nother story there. But they let him send 2 girls in there. And of course, this is all a very controlled area. Okay, so you have to have super duper clearance to be able to get in there and be bonded and all this stuff like that. Well, this company that we use, they let 2 of their girls go in there with sheets of stickers that said "Made in China." And they opened up all those boxes and they put a "Made in China" sticker on every one of those figures in those boxes. So that's if you've ever got one of the enforcers that were put together in the bag. And that was the other thing is when with the original company, we're making their kits. They're not supposed to be assembled. Now, on the opposite side of that, we didn't tell them not to assemble them, so this company assembled them. So they came the enforcers all came glued together. And so if you got one of those bags in the enforcer, that was what the deal was. Is that we actually had to have people go in there and put stickers on thousands of these figures. And then we got them, and of course, since they glued them together, they were absolutely useless for us, other than they were okay for us to put in the Kickstarter because we put everything in a big box and it's loose anyway. But with them being glued together, we can't put them in our blister cards.
Right.
So I call over there and, okay, we need to make some changes. So when we actually did that, we actually had to do a second run of enforcers to fix it with the "Made in China" and that they weren't glued and everything. So if you order a retail enforcer, it comes as a kit. So that's the great sticker story.
So now we need some sort of in CAV fluff background story that explains why there are so many enforcers deployed across the galaxy.
They are everywhere.
Something
they are 10,000 of them, million of them.
And there's like 2 of them to every regular dictator or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's crazy with all the stuff. And like I said, everything is. It doesn't matter who does it. It's always my fault. So I get to write the checks every time. It's like, oh, crap. So anyway, well, let's see what happens.
Big shoulders.
Yeah, like you can't send shoes to Italy unless they're made of wood. Hey, New Memphis prod, I know, Kane. It's all good. Yeah, don't worry about the second prod. That's a long way of prod. I know when my sister went to Guam for a while. That was a funny story. We were watching something on TV the other night, and they were talking about that I guess that new representative Marjorie Green or whatever that tends to be a little Fruit Loops. She made some big speech or something like that, and Guam is part of the United States. Okay, Guam is. If you live in Guam, you're an American citizen. Okay, if you're born in Guam,
it's a territory or something like that.
Yeah, it falls under a territory. It's not a state, but it's still you're part of the American. And she just could not understand why in the budget that money was going to a foreign country named Guam when we had people in our like, oh, there you might ought to take a geography lesson there. So I thought that was kind of funny. But if you don't know, Guam is part of the United States. So.
Yep. It's a territory.
Yeah.
That's a subject for another day.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's like Guam and Wake Island, and there's several of them that are all in there that are that way. So anyway, really? Next part. Enforcer plans were leaked on the Galactic Net. Everyone is making. By the way, speaking of plans and everything, have you put your badger together yet?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I have so much stuff to do before that badger. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I've been working on that one that I've been painting, which I planned on because I got all the pre-shading done on it. So I was going to actually start working on the paneling on it last night, but. Didn't get to it, so.
I managed to deliver one of my gifts, my gift badgers, this past week or so, and John with the Slow Grow League that I've got a whole force to paint up, and so I've been concentrating on them. I'm hoping when we play I can get Cthulhu to bring his badger so we can show it off.
I know that I'd really thought that we would see Todd's because he had his all primered and everything the last time that I saw anything on it. So I would have thought he'd had his done, but apparently I haven't heard anything more about it, so he must have gone on. John, did the Adon font on the power substation look reasonably okay? I saw the picture of the station as a whole. I did not click on it and look up at it close. So I will make sure that I do that. Spaceballs ones is ready for the league. Well, there you go, James. Looks like you got a Badger incoming.
Sweet. We love it.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen Cthulhu's brothers pictures of his too. There's at least two of them that can make an appearance.
Yeah, I
And
think
of
those
course,
are the only two that I've seen pictures up for so far. Other than there's a couple of assembled ones and Todd's primered one, but I think those are the only two painted ones that I've seen.
if you come over to the Discord, there's one over there that you can see that is being slowly processed by. I cannot keep people's names straight. So one of the geniuses over on Discord.
Cool. Okay. Well, I need to jump back over there. I haven't. It's been so crazy here for the last month or two that I haven't had a chance to catch up with everything that was over there. So that's on my to-do list. All right. So one thing that I did want to touch on tonight is I posted on Facebook today, and I need to get better about posting it on other places. I just do it on Facebook because it's so easy. So I'm used to doing it on Facebook. But I'm kind of, it's not really a competition or anything like that, but I've decided that I'm going to do a little write-up. I'm going to do 10 of them, probably each of them like 1,000 words. And I want to take, so people can make suggestions if they want a particular thing of history, or if they need a rule or better examples or something like that. I'm going to go through as people pile these up and pick these and write these things up and put them out as a downloadable PDF that you'll be able to look at and read, and it'll actually become set and canon and everything like that. Then a lot of things that I'm hoping that there's so many of them that there'll be ones that aren't chosen I can kind of talk about on Tuesday and Wednesday nights a little bit. Maybe not as in depth, but at least have some things to say about them. So I saw them start piling up. I saw your Pirates one. So that's a good one. I like that. I know there was one or two asking about Cyros. There are no Cyros. So I know that those are the mechanical robot thingies that they kind of talked about in the original rules. Okay. They put some information out. I think one of the Journal of Recognitions has a section on them, but there are no Cyros. It's not they're not even CAVs. They're rogue AI robots that build some kind of a zombie version of CAVs or something like that too. But it just doesn't go with the direction that I want the game to go in. And I'm not saying that there won't be something down the road, but right now as far as Cyros as people think of them or have asked about, there are no Cyros in the CAV universe. So sorry. You never could get them to scale right, as far as they did some preliminary rules and work on them, but because there's such a force of mass, it's just like the bugs and Starship Troopers. Games always ended up one of two ways. Is either one, because of terrain or whatever, you were able to keep them at range and everybody just sit back and it was a bug hunt. You just sit there and just shot the hell out of them. Or they got up to you, and once they got up to you, everybody died every time. Once they got it, and they just couldn't make the numbers work out again. I played against them at a con, and they were just it's like I said, it's just not scalable in the way that we play the game, and it's just to make them work with the way that they're talked about and stuff like that. It's just not going to work in the CAV universe. So,
John, you said they're not in the universe. We don't need to talk about them. They're not here.
I know. Kane was asking about a question there too. So anyway, so if you have something that you would like me to talk about and put down on paper for you to read, please go to one of the Facebook threads. I put them up on the main page and on both of the fan pages, and list what you want us to talk about. And like I said, over the next couple of weeks, I'll start pulling those out and write them up. I promise I'll give you at least 1,000 words. So that's a couple of pages worth of stuff, and can go from there. So this would be a good time if you want. I know there was another one asking about the communication systems. That was a good one that's come up multiple times before too. So I think that one. I'm hoping somebody will ask about finance, galactic finance, how people do money, where money, and everything. So hint, hint, hint. Okay. That would be a good one.
All right. So something that comes to mind for me is to get a chance to get like a portrait or a biography about some famous pilot, maybe somebody who's really big in the War Master tournament circles. Just some Michael Jordan-esque superstar of the War Master tournament.
Well, you might get somebody. You might get somebody to put that up for you, because I'm not double dipping anybody. So if you put one up and I take yours, you don't get a second one. So.
Turns out, John, I know how to log into other accounts, so you can't block.
That's true. That's true. You can use somebody else's account. I want to flesh out 4 RAD, so put a question up about if the RAD are specialized. Put it up there. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll find out about RAD. What happens with RAD? So I thought it was kind of funny with the asking about the communications and everything, because I use the Federal News Network. For my little plug, kind of take off from the Starship Trooper thing. I thought that was There's some communications for you.
I was hoping, like in your downtime, I haven't heard from you very much in the last few weeks. I was hoping maybe you'd built a website where we could click through and go and find where these stories were going to go.
No,
I
haven't got that. Sorry, not that crazy. So no, it's just stuff. It's so much. Actually, things that have to be done right now. I'm trying to get everything done, refiguring the shop, throwing things away. We've hauled dumpsters full of crap out of here. And then to throw it all off too, is my daughter, youngest daughter, has to had, we're halfway in anyway, surgery on both of her knees. They're out of whack, and so they're doing one, and then they're going to get her back on her feet, and then they're going to do the other one. So at the first of the month, she had surgery. Well, she's over at our house, and Mama's taking care of her and everything like that. And we brought in a bed and a chair that does all the adjusting and everything like that. Well, especially the bed had to go up into the front room, which is my office, which is stacked to the ceiling with books and games and everything like that. So to make room for that, I had to box all that stuff up and bring it out here. So I've already busted at the seams. So now I've got stacks in the office of books and games I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with. Yeah. And then, so we've probably got a couple of more weeks with therapy and stuff on this knee, and then they're going to do it again. So. Crazy.
Good thing you've got the shop, John. Most people would be like, where do I put all this stuff?
Well, that's people ask me, because of my other business that I originally had out here, and they go, well, you sold the business, why didn't you sell the building? I said, I got too much crap. I said, I had to have somewhere to put all my stuff. I said, trying to buy storage would have killed me. Time for HQ to expand. No, we're working towards that. I've been having a guy here working on doors and windows and getting ready to. We're trying to get everything put together, and it's just every time we turn around, it's something else. So,
you have at some point in time you have plans to actually add a game store onto
that is my hope. Is I don't know if we're going to be able to make it all in one bite. That old metal building gets stripped yet. The two-story one, yeah, it's I took the tractor out. God, it's been a month or two ago or whatever, and went out there and knocked it all down. So it's all laying out there, and they've been slowly pulling it out. So I've got mounds of crap over on the other lot that I've got to get hauled off, but I can't get anybody to bring any roll-offs in, because all the roll-offs in the area are spoken for the next 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
So, and then if I try to get a company over in Wichita to bring me one over, it's just way too expensive to do it. So, so I'm waiting for both the city and the county has roll-offs, and both of them have all their stuff backed up for 3 or 4 months. So, and then I had to mess with my tickets. I finally got all my tickets dismissed. Other than the seatbelt, I did have to pay a $30 seatbelt one, but I got all the other ones knocked out. So got that squared away. It's just stuff. It goes back to that. I need 10 of me, one for each group of things. So I'm trying to I've got some land about 30 miles from here over in Andover, which is right on the outskirts of Wichita. I've got 15 acres over there. I'm trying to get it cleaned up so that I can sell it. We kind of held on to it thinking that maybe we'd build a house over there or something like that. But at this point, we've just got too much other things going on. So I've got to finish cleaning it up and getting it sold. There's a couple of buildings on it over there already, and of course they've been, because nobody's living over there on a regular basis. People have broken into them and tore the doors out of them, and just for no reason. There ain't nothing in them. There wasn't nothing in them. The doors weren't even locked, and they kicked all the doors in. So just stuff like that. And but yes, no, the plan is I'm either, like I said, we're either going to build one big one onto the existing building or whatever, and have the area to go ahead and do the retail in, or as we design the add-ons, we'll add on to get us some more room for the warehouse, but have it set up so that we can add on again for the to add the store more room or whatever. So
cool.
So, yep, lots and lots of stuff going on. If only I could win the lottery and pay somebody to help me.
That would be interesting.
That would be great. That would be a big plus. Yeah.
So you're still looking at ReaperCon?
We at this point, we will not officially be attending ReaperCon. I may go down and just be there at the show, and we may run some games or something like that. I don't know exactly how that's still fleshing out. But because of the restrictions that they have placed on, and by the time the show comes around, they may lift them. I don't know what they're doing, but we couldn't get a straight answer as to what exactly was going to be the final setup. And I really felt like that with the tickets being limited to just a certain number of people, that the Reaper faithful would suck those tickets up so fast that people, part of a show for us to go to is to see the people that we've already have bought the game or that we know and visit with and let them add to it. But part of the show too is we need new people to come in for us to be able to show how to play, how to, make more sales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I felt like that we would just get kind of the same people as far as the out of that group, out of the Reaper, and we just there wouldn't be enough to justify sales wise. So that's where we're at. I haven't totally ruled out going. I still have my hotel reservations and everything like that, but I may just attend and come down there and we'll have a weekend of games or something like that. But as far as an actual booth in the convention and everything, we will not be doing that. So, and that probably is going to hold true for the rest of the year. I don't think that there's going to be any conventions that we're really going to try to do, because we can't get a straight answer out of some of them. I know, like Hugh was telling me, NashCon's talking about that they're going to lift all their restrictions now and everything like that. But again, we've emailed them, we've tried to call them, and we can't get a straight answer as to what's going to happen or whatever. And we have to plan months ahead to hit a show with the full deal. So until everybody gets back on schedule, and it doesn't help that a lot of the conventions are all trying to do it in 1 month. August and September is going to be nuts for conventions for people. Everybody's, and I don't understand why they are doing it. I would much rather go another month or something like that and take a chance of having, maybe not getting somebody because of the date, as opposed to trying to go against other conventions. Because everybody, generally when those conventions are spread out, all of them maybe get the same guy. He may go to 6 different shows. But if you got 6 shows in 2 weeks, he's going to pick one show, and the other 5 are going to be punished for it. So I think that it's going to take a while to get everything back up to speed. So we'll just roll on to next year and start planning for that. Go from there.
I liked ReaperCon back when it was an October convention better than a September convention.
Over around Halloween time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a cooler time of year, and it's if you're going to be in Texas, better to let it cool off a little bit before right there at the end of summer. And I understand they wanted to get to the hotel, and I guess that was the deal they had to take, was Labor Day weekend. But I preferred it was when it was in October.
Yeah, part of the they were trying to get away from all the food things that they did, like at the other hotel when they were in October and everything like that. And the way hotels are set up now, that's how they really try to get a lot of their money out of you, is for you to buy food and things like that. And of course, so they're competing with weddings and everything like that. And Labor Day weekend apparently is a dead weekend for hotels. So that's kind of how that came about. They got a better rate and a better deal that they could commit to longer term if they decided to take the weekend that nobody else wanted. So
it's not terrible. It's just I preferred October. It's
the cooler month. Yeah, it's certainly nicer and cooler down there in October. So.
Mm-hmm. Money in the CAV universe. Mr. Cthulhu wants to know about money.
Okay, there we go. We're getting some questions.
Yep. I think it's a great idea. I mean, we need a steady source of fluff. I think it's the thing CAV needs. Let me rephrase that. CAV is lacking the most is fluff.
Yeah.
We have great models. We have great rules. Lots of a fair amount of like internet-based activity with all your streams and everything, but there's just not enough fluff. People want the fluff.
No, I hear you. I understand, and that was kind of the idea behind this. There's we're trying to get all the books done and everything else that's going on, but at least this way we can start getting some stuff out that we can that I can work on without it turning into a 3-month 20,000 word book or something like that. So little bites rather than great big meals. So
seems good.
Yep. And on top of that, I mean, we've got a lot of other things that we're going into. We're certainly I don't know whether it's the best or the worst for getting everything done or whatever, but we're diversifying into other things. Like I said, with the talking with the paint racks and different lines of miniatures. I'm in talks with a couple of sculptors about bringing in some other lines. Chris has been working on the larger scale figures, that'll go into our Rogue Legion line, and there'll be other things that we go into that that's just how it's gonna go. So, with the Templars acting as a bank, do they deal with the Rock? No, they do not. The Rock is not part of the galactic system, so they would be. There may be some under the table deals or something like that, but as a government entity, the Rock do not have anything to do with international banking, communications, etc., etc., etc.
But there must be resources in the CAV universe that are trans-border, whether you're Rock or not. I mean, like on Earth, gold is valued pretty much everywhere you go. From an industrial perspective, like platinum and electrum and nickel and tin and all the valuable metals that are part of an industrialized civilization, there must still be those kinds of things that have value in rock space and outside of rock space. Right?
Well, to a degree, that's kind of where that underhanded kind of under the table kind of thing is. If you're dealing with a merchant that's willing to come across the border or something like that, and really on a galactic scale, the vast majority of commerce is conducted through trade. You have a certain product, it's valued at a certain price, and they exchange product rather than trying to have a centralized location that everybody is banking through and transferring money and everything like that. The vast majority of trade in the galaxy is done through trade, through like-kind merchandise.
So it's kind of a barter economy for the most part, is what you're saying?
But in between in between the different groups. Obviously, inside Templar space and human space or whatever, they have their own financial systems that they can operate in of themselves. But as far as, if they're buying something from the Adenese or vice versa, the Adenese do not necessarily want Terran money. They come up and it's an exchange. So now sometimes, and that's where the Templars can kind of get involved as well, because, somebody has to evaluate that and be on the same page and make sure we're kind of on the equal. So, they are involved somewhat into that, but as a whole, there's no real overall currency that everybody uses. So.
Interesting. There's a rich tapestry there. I mean, to be honest with you, that opens up an opportunity for there to be the CAV equivalent of like that sort of age of exploration, age of sail, like Captain Cook's sort of experience around the galaxy. Where like the India Company. So the India East Company. I can't remember the exact name of it.
East Indies.
Yeah, the East Indies Company. They would bring trade goods back and forth between the Great Britain and all their territories out in the world. It seems to me like this barter system allows that kind of opportunity, which kind of goes hand in hand in my question about there being pirates, right?
Right.
There's got to be these places in space that are full of both potential profit and also just gigantic dangers, right?
Right.
And I feel that there's a fascinating set of stories to be told in those areas.
And I mean that's where the get rich people are really working that area, because if they can come up with a product something that's in Terran space or Templar space that nobody else has, or is high demand in other places or whatever. That's what they try to do, is they try to take that particular product, go into A&E space to a particular world or whatever, and trade for gold or diamonds or whatever that planet may have that's worth something that they can bring back, and then be able to convert into real money in their own system. So yeah, that's a big deal.
Would you say that on a faction basis, and again, I'm just asking you to speculate, not pin you down to anything specific, but none of the major factions, or none of the factions that are part of CAV, none of their territories are short any given resource. So in other words, dilithium crystals, to throw something out there, right? So like the A&Es don't have a monopoly on those where everybody's got to come to them to get those. Even Rockspace makes everything needed to support their
when you have that many worlds, there's not, some people may make something a little better, or some people may have, one realm may have more of something that other one may be lacking because they have 10 worlds that has it and they only have 2 or something. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, everybody can find everything that they need. It's just a matter of getting to the right place or getting the right person to get it to you. And there are new, of course, any good sci-fi universe has got, like you said, dilithium crystals, or things that are unique to the system, so that they need. That was always one of the cool things back in the day when I played Star Wars Galaxies. They had a very great equipment system and building and everything like that. And what they did is, on a weekly, or was it a weekly or a monthly basis? I think it was like maybe on a monthly basis. But all the minerals, they had minerals and metals and petrochemicals and all these different things. They would respawn them every month, and they would show up at different places on different worlds or whatever, not always in the same place. And the stats was always be different. So here's this particular kind of aluminum, and this particular time it's really good in this stat, and next time, and then this one aluminum is good in all of them. So there was this whole culture of people. That's all they did, is they farmed and went out to these and mined these different minerals, or pumped up these chemicals, everything, to sell to the crafters. And obviously, when a lot of it, 90% of it was junk. The stats were so horrible that they couldn't do. But when something good would come up, that stuff was, if you wanted to get rich in the Star Wars universe, if you'd get hundreds of thousands of that, and slowly siphon it out, because after a month it's gone, it never comes back. And so they had people that would be sitting on millions of these units that they had, because all they did was mine for the entire month. And slowly, of course, there's a galactic trade system or whatever that you can look on, and they'd have 10,000 of these for X number a unit or something like that. Very, very cool. It was, as far as that whole immersive thing, I mean, it really didn't have anything to do with Star Wars per se, but as a sci-fi, it was great. And just like I said, there was, and the same thing happened with the different creatures. Creatures would spawn different kind of stats on their skin and on their flesh, and so you had all these hunters, that went out and would have hide and all this different stuff, and sell the hide and stuff to the clothes manufacturers, and then the meat went to the chefs and the cooks. So it was quite the deal. I really miss that game.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Though the one experience I had with that was something similar, was in City of Heroes. In one of their issues, they came out with essentially costume pieces that would drop, and you could collect sets of them. And if you got enough of if you got the full set, you could put them together. And the only way to get them was to get them as part of your drops in the context of the game.
Right.
And so it was just amazing because you didn't even know what they were, right?
Right.
Somebody would show up in the auction house wearing a set of wings, and you'd be like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Quick, type that. How did you get those?
Yeah.
Where are those from? And
Right.
what do you want for them? And gosh, it was very active and fun and interesting, and that sort of self-sustaining economy in the context of that sort of online game. I
Right.
think you're right. It's perfect.
And it just, they've gone away from those type of games, just because, that's too much work, I guess, for the current generation of stuff like that. You can get into some of those. I think that, what is the, what's that? I forget what that game is now, where you can, No Man's Land
Space.
or No Man's Sky or something like that.
In No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has a lot of that, and that they've
Does it?
added to it. Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't played that since it first came out.
Eve has some of it. The problem I always had with Eve though is you were always just in a ship, whereas with No Man's Sky or whatever, the graphic side of it is very much more. You actually go to a world and see creatures and things like that. And Eve may have changed. I don't know, but I know that No Man's Sky is really set up like that. But it's a lot more of a. They do have some cross-play now, that different people can be on the same server, but really a lot of it is just you doing it yourself, and going out there and gathering these things in order to build, a certain ship or something like that. And I think you can build your own world and all kinds of things.
Wasn't there some sort of space-based Kickstarter game 6 or 7 years ago that came out and made like $80 trillion on Kickstarter, and like it's sort of I can't remember the name of it.
It's like
a
Star
space-
something or whatever, and
Yeah.
Star Citizen, and they're still going. They've done multiple Kickstarters. They've generated all this money. You can actually go to their website and buy spaceships and pay cash money for them, and then but the game's not out. So I mean, these people are paying thousands of dollars to go out and there's no game yet. So still in alpha. Yeah, I mean it's got parts that they've got. So but yeah, no, there's been a lot of games I have watched and talked about and looked at. And, this is the next Star Wars Galaxies for me or whatever, and then it comes out and it's like doesn't do anything like they said it would.
So Starfield is a Bethesda game that's coming out on Xbox only? Is that a true statement?
Well, anything that Bethesda, will in the future will be, at least initial release will be Xbox only since Microsoft bought them. But
I'm going to have to break down and buy an Xbox.
well, obviously that plan worked for them because you're moving over into their system. It's a science fiction version of their
Elder
Scrolls,
sort of stuff?
Fallout, all that kind of stuff. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be a really good game. So,
I'll have to pick up an Xbox of some flavor. I better get one before they scalp them all.
Well, I don't. It's still really. I mean, I haven't got one of the new ones yet. I haven't tried really hard, but because I'm in no big hurry for it. But yeah, I think they're really hard still to get. They're selling them as fast as they get them in.
I'll wait.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I am. I'll wait for it. I'm not going to pay premium price for it. It goes in there. Yeah, I've got the last one they did before they did the current version. So not the S. They did. I forget with I don't know. So.
Yeah.
But and I still do. I do enjoy Destiny. I still play Destiny 2 on the Xbox. It has some of those elements, but it's I've got so far behind. I just get on and go out and do some of the missions and stuff like that. But it's got some of those elements, so you might look at that. It's fun. If you get an Xbox and start playing Destiny 2, I'll play with you. So
You can find out how bad my hand-eye coordination really is.
oh, it's okay. We're not hardcore, so. I had Ed and a couple other people for a long time. We were playing together, and then everybody just kind of does their own thing. And my problem that I have with a lot of people is generally when I have time to play, it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night, midnight, and everybody, oh, well, I don't want to play that late. I understand that, but that's just the way it is. So I know I was playing a lot of Rocket League too. I really enjoyed Rocket League, but
Is that that
the
car
car,
soccer
yeah,
game?
the car soccer game.
Okay,
So
that's funny.
it's if you've got a good group of guys that you like to talk and BS with and do it while you're talking and don't take it hardcore like some of the because it's a e-sport league and everything like that. So there's guys on there that are you drop in with them and all you can do is just sit there and watch them score over and over and over because they're so used to working with each other and they've got everything worked out to the smallest part. But just to get down and play kind of game with regular everyday guys, it's fun as hell, and everybody's screaming and hollering and shoot the ball. But a lot of fun. Okay, so we need to get, and there is a way to tie that back into that because my youngest son is majoring in computer game design and is already starting to plan out a couple of things. I won't go into too much detail, but we could be seeing some stuff over the next couple of years. So,
That's the idea.
yeah. Well, they've got to produce a finished product by the end of to graduate. So he's picking something out and figured that's the way to go. And he's talked to a couple of his instructors, and they've asked. It's come up, and he's explained to them what I do and stuff like that. So he's come out here and got rule books and figures and took them over to the college and handed them out to the instructors. And there's 2 or 3 of them that are all super interested in it too. So we'll see how it works out.
That would be sweet. Sign me up.
Easy for him to get the rights to use the IP. You are correct.
No, John, you got to charge him. Come on now.
Well, technically, in the grand scheme of things, he owns part of it, so I don't know that I can charge him for what he owns. That's what I tell all my kids and my wife. This is the empire I've built for you. You each own your part.
That's awesome.
So until the day I die, and then there'll be a fire sale out here. You'll be able to get everything you want for $10. Oh, yeah, it'll be a sad day with all the stuff out here that'll end up in the dumpster, I'm sure. So, it's just
won't
dad's.
have to worry
It's
about
just dad's crap. Get rid of it. So, all right. So we're down to the last couple of minutes. So, anyway, so make sure get those questions in. The more questions there are, like I said, I'm just going to do a write up on 10 of them, but I'll pick some of the better ones that don't get used and make some notes that we can talk about on the stream, and go from there. It's always good especially if I know before the show, what we're going to kind of talk about. If somebody has something particular they bring up, it's always good for that. So even when we're not doing this, if there's before a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night show, if there's something you want me to talk about, come up on the afternoon and put something on Facebook or whatever, and I'll try to get some stuff together and have a more concise, organized conversation as to a particular topic, possibly, maybe. All right. Any last words, James?
I'm excited that there's going to be a regular avenue for new fluff to enter the CAV universe. That's the best thing I've heard in a couple of shows for sure.
Good. Well, and I think part of this too will help with the RPG stuff too.
Still got that on the burner.
Yeah. And I want to, I want to do put some stuff out there. It seems like Stargrave is, a lot of people are working on stuff for that. And I'd like to look at it a little bit and see if we can't do a CAV Stargrave mashup.
I don't see why you couldn't.
Yeah. So
CAV and Stargrave are about the same size in terms of model count. So
Yeah.
it seems like they're a pretty good fit.
yeah. So, all right, folks. Well, it is that witching hour, so we're going to get off here and call it a night. As always, thanks for showing up. We'll be around. Chris will be back Saturday, I believe, working on. I'm not sure what he worked on because I didn't watch the show at all. On Saturday yet. Hadn't had a chance. Usually I've got it on in the background when I'm out here working, but it's just been, I'm not in one place long enough to actually listen to anything right now. So it's like forward and back, left and right, up and down. So anyway.
So I'm not sure if Ross was talking about doing the Big Stompy podcast tomorrow.
I think the plan is for him to do it. So I may actually have to participate since you're being, hooky again, but that's all right.
Listen,
I know it's your anniversary.
it's my 33rd wedding anniversary tomorrow. I'm gonna hang out with my missus and have a great time.
I hope that you do. So 33. 33. Okay, guys, everybody take care. Have a good night, and we will talk at you later.
Take care.
Let's see, I guess we got to hit